Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are here now with Janaki Kumar, talking about digital transformation in the time of COVID. Janaki is the head of design at JP Morgan Chase, the commercial bank in US, where she focuses a lot on trying to humanize the financial industry and bringing the emotional aspect to all of these instruments that we as people use. She is an award-winning designer, and she has over 20 patents to her name. And she's also been named the Woman of Influence by Silicon Valley Business Journal in 2016. So I think it's very clear that you are the one who should be talking a lot more right now. So I would like to listen to you. So over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm truly honored to have this conversation with all of you today at such an unprecedented time. COVID is obviously an unfortunate and a terrible crisis for humanity, and it has affected us all in so many ways. In this talk, I'll share with you the ways in which the pandemic has affected organizations and 5 mindsets that designers need to cultivate to maximize our impact during COVID and beyond. Every year, John Maeda publishes a Design in Tech report during the South by Southwest conference. He conducted a survey last year and asked the question: who drives digital transformation in your organization? Is it the CEO, the CIO, the CTO, the CFO, or the CDO? And some creative respondents wrote in COVID 19. And there is some truth to that. COVID has accelerated secular trends. In other words, trends that were moving slowly earlier got faster last year. So, one such trend is the acceleration of digital adoption by customers and the corresponding digital transformation by organizations. Twilio surveyed 250 decision makers and found that COVID accelerated their organization's digital transformation efforts by 6 years. This means that they looked for new ways to engage with their customers and increased budgets for their tech investments. And we see this shift to digital across a variety of industries. For example, nearly a quarter of all coffee orders on Starbucks were on the mobile app compared to 16% last year. A Nike has invested in seamlessly integrating their fitness app with their e-commerce, and last year they saw a huge increase in their customer adoption. And telehealth, as we all know, has seen a significant increase in adoption. And furthermore, a recent McKinsey survey found that these changes in consumer behavior and the resulting changes happening within organizations are likely to stick in the long term. So, this is here to stay. So, what does it mean for designers? This increased investment in digital transformation in organizations presents interesting opportunities for us designers. In fact, our skills for solving problems in a human centered way is exactly what the world needs right now. However, we as designers need to adapt new mindsets to truly elevate our impact. So, hi, I'm Janaki Kumar. I'm the head of design for commercial bank at JPMC, JP Morgan Chase. We are a team of design researchers, product designers, and service designers, and our mission is to humanize financial services and transform our customer experience by design. I'm a co-instructor at Stanford, and I teach a course called the Customer Experience Design from a neuroscience perspective. Prior to JP Morgan, I led the Design and Co-Innovation Center in Palo Alto, which is a design agency within SAP, and worked with SAP's largest customers on their strategic transformation projects. In this talk, I'll share with you 5 practical tips for designers to elevate our impact during COVID and beyond. Tip number 1: get comfortable with ambiguity. So, in large strategic projects, often the design team or the business team has a transformation mandate, but they are still unsure of the exact area of focus. So, therefore, designers involved early in these transformation projects may not have the project brief handed to them. Rather, they may have to work with their stakeholders to co create the project brief. So, designers who are not prepared for this level of ambiguity may feel a little lost and may not be sure how to best engage. The good news is that we have the tools at our disposal to handle this ambiguity. So, start with empathy to understand the user needs broadly and holistically to uncover unmet needs and opportunities for innovation. So during COVID, however, we cannot meet our users face to face. So we need to conduct our research remotely. While in many ways this is not ideal, there are some advantages to remote research. It allows us to be more inclusive in our participant pool. So recently, we conducted a remote interview with a person who was wearing an oxygen tank about his attitudes towards finance. And for another study, we intentionally included participants in the middle of America who were unbanked or underbanked. So the digital platform enables us to include many more voices and perspectives and uncover unique insights. So use it. Now bring all these insights, this discovery, to a cross functional team of stakeholders to collaboratively synthesize the information and co create the project vision. And design thinking facilitation and time boxing comes in very handy. In one occasion, at a very ambiguous start of a project engagement, the first item on our agenda was to create the agenda. So instead of having a lengthy, open ended discussion, we asked the attendees to suggest topics for discussion. And then we assigned them to time slots. And we got the group's commitment that these were the topics that we needed to discuss to achieve the goals of the workshop. But this requires the designer to take an active role and show leadership and find creative ways to manage this ambiguity. And during COVID, we need to learn to use new tools to facilitate these sessions online and achieve similar results. Tip number 2, be a continuous learner. So in design, we have this concept of a T-shaped designer. So one has one area of depth, say visual design, and can extend in other related areas like interaction design or user research. When you're working on strategic projects, it is necessary to extend our T even further into business topics like product strategy, operations, legal, compliance, public policy, ethics, etc. And technology topics like big data, artificial intelligence, machine learning. We do not need to be experts in all these areas, but the designer needs to know enough to stay engaged in the conversation and to drive human centered impact. However, our current academic system is not ready for these rapid changes happening in the industry. We cannot expect designers enrolled in a 4-year academic program to take additional courses in business and CS and law and operations and still graduate on time. So therefore, designers have to learn these additional skills on the job. And we need to take advantage of just-in-time learning opportunities, peer-to-peer coaching, lunch and learn sessions, and keep ourselves informed and inspired. Personally, when I joined the financial services industry, I learned a lot about the domain from podcasts and talking to experts. Our design team attended a business analyst training offered by the firm to learn how we do business. So tip number 3, be a systems thinker. When designers become part of an executive suite, our effectiveness is judged not just on the elegance of our design artifacts, but the impact of our implemented products. We are trained to focus on emotions and customer delight, and this is our sweet spot. However, when we enter the C-suite, we need to learn logical and pragmatic business decision making as well. It is humbling to recognize that it takes the entire organization to help a product design succeed. So the product or the service has to be marketed to the right customers, The sales team has to be incentivized to offer the product to the customers. The production team or the development team has to produce and launch the product without errors. And in the case of a physical product, shipping and logistics has to get it into the hands of the customer. And it does not end there. If the customer has a problem or a question, they need to know whom to contact, and the operations team needs to be ready to step in and help resolve the customer's issue or question. So it takes the entire organization to work seamlessly in order for the customers to have a positive experience with our product designs. To be successful, we need to learn to evaluate our designs, ideas objectively. Here, we can borrow tools and techniques from business strategy consultants like the 2x2 matrix to evaluate designs on effort and impact, stakeholder analysis to form strategic partnerships, and build or buy matrix based on market maturity, competitiveness. And learning all these decisions will not happen overnight. And we need to be patient with ourselves and build strong cross-functional partnerships with those who can help us with our blind spots. Tip number 4, embrace diversity. There are many different types of diversity. Gender, race, color, ethnicity are the externally evident ones. But there are less evident ones like cognitive styles, domain experience, and life experience. So each one of these differences shapes a person's worldview and perspective. While it is a good start that diversity does not simply mean hiring a diverse team. Once we hire a diverse team, we need to learn to listen to one another, to help one another make decisions better collectively. So how can we translate diversity into business value? So research shows that there is an optimal level of creative abrasion that leads to innovation. When all team members have the same life experience and background, and we have very similar worldview, there is low creative abrasion. When the team members have diverse backgrounds and perspectives, there is high creative abrasion. When there is low creative abrasion, team members converge in their way of thinking. They don't explore divergent ideas. And when there is high creative abrasion, team members diverge in their way of thinking, the way they look at problem, and have difficulty converging on solutions. So there is an optimal level of creative abrasion where the diverse team members have enough common experiences that they can learn to listen and respect one another's perspective so that they can converge on solution once they have explored many divergent ones. So this optimal level of creative abrasion leads to a high performing, innovative team. Having a diverse design team is an asset when the team transitions to strategic projects. So when the team has practiced listening to and learning from different points of view, it is not a surprise to them when they encounter stakeholders do not immediately agree with them right away. They have developed the wisdom to know that everyone looks at the world through their own unique lens and are resilient and can persist in developing ideas by collaborating and with these other perspectives. When transitioning online, remember to nurture the social bonds and connections that we intentionally have to make the space for rapid bonding to preserve the foundation of trust and respect that are the hallmarks of a truly innovative team. Tip number 5, communicate to connect. We designers are great at coming up with new terms that only we can understand. Our experts argue openly amongst ourselves about the merits of their design approach, their process steps, their artifact names. Within our design profession, we have heated debates about UCD versus HCD, UX versus CX, design versus design thinking. When we want to elevate our impact, we need to communicate to connect to others. Sometimes, stakeholders, in their attempt to connect to us, may use a design term incorrectly. In such situations, listen closely to understand what they mean rather than focusing on their incorrect usage of design terms. Sometimes we have to communicate a concept multiple times to be understood. This blog entry on the Adobe XD site said it best. Let us not debate the state of design right now. Let us debate how we can be of service and how we can use design to lift each other up. So, to conclude, COVID has truly accelerated the digital transformation in organizations. And this presents an opportunity for designers to elevate our impact. Here are 5 tips to help designers do just that. Get comfortable with ambiguity, be a continuous learner, be a systems thinker, embrace diversity, and communicate to connect. And I know we can adapt and rise to the occasion. As Charles Darwin says, it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most adaptable to change. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for the talk, Jarki. It was very insightful, and it makes us think the different kinds of people who react to a situation like COVID, and which is pretty uncertain. But there's always hope to go forward and different paths that we could take. So thank you for that. We have a few questions from the audience,
Mhm.
and let's just go some of them. Uh, what beginners UX designers can do to excel themselves as UX design in this time of a pandemic?
Yeah, that is a great question, and this is in fact, um, you know, uh, I have targeted this particular presentation to more senior level designers in the organization, but the concepts are also very applicable to people who are just getting into the industry. I think the second idea of being a continuous learner is really important, which is, learn the domain of that you're designing for. Obviously, you have to practice your craft and get yourself very confident in your skill set. It's also good to reach out to your other team members and don't be shy. Your perspective and worldview really matters. And truly try to understand the big picture. I've mentored, I've been a design leader for many, many years. And I've noticed that there are some designers who are really skilled at their craft, but have a very unrealistic expectation that the design brief is extremely clear and explicit. In the real world, sometimes everyone is figuring things out, and your product team is figuring things out too. So just knowing how to work with other people, and still honoring your point of view and being the advocate for the human needs. I think that's the essence. Honor yourself.
That's great. It's more of a personality builder and like bringing our own character building qualities and empathy to the situation, which
Yes.
makes the bigger difference. Uh,
Yes.
so I got one more saying, if you recommend any kind of resources or courses for a manager to achieve a seamless integration with people with T area skills.
What area skills?
T area, like people who are specialized in one and then have a broad reach on other skills. So, how does a manager cope with them and plan around such people? Are there
Yeah,
any good
I think
resources?
I'm assuming that the question is relating to hiring, right? So I have this funny way of hiring my team. I think of it as a jigsaw puzzle. So as I start the team and I speak to my executives on what we need to do, I kind of like get in my brain, I have a jigsaw puzzle of all the different skill sets. I need, design research. I need systems designer. I need interaction designer. I have visual design. I may need a videographer, I may need copy editing or content strategy. So basically, where the project is, if it's in a very early concept, you need more of the researchers and more of the systems designers, and then as you're later in the project, then you need much more visual designers and the people who are writing the copy and so on. So it's like a jigsaw puzzle, and you need to kind of like get the puzzle pieces on your team just right. And as a manager, I think your critical job is to have those talks with your team and understand what are their skill sets, what are their passions. Because one of the things that I've noticed is sometimes a person may be a visual designer, they may have gone to school for visual design, but they're really passionate about UX or interaction design, and they want a chance to play in that role as well, right? And knowing that is a great thing. Then you can pair them up, you can mentor them, you can grow. So your team becomes like a really dynamic and a living garden, and you can nurture and grow all these different talents in your team.
Yes, that makes sense. Like the tea can actually grow in either direction based on the need. That's
Yes.
good. And lastly, I think there's a pretty interesting question from, I don't see a name here, but they ask how to keep things balanced as a T-shaped designer. They're a multidisciplinary designer whose strength is in product design, 3D design, motion design, and many more. And how to stop from getting overwhelmed and like effective tips on like holding it all together.
Okay. I mean, one of the quotes that I like to use, and this is in the case of product management, is fall in love with the problem, not the solution. So all your skill sets, all your toolkits, right? These are basically it's your tool belt, and you have so many different tools in your tool belt. Now that's great. That's all great, right? Now you're a very accomplished person. You have a number of tools in your tool belt, but at the end of the day, what do you want to make out of it, right? So what is it? Are you into carpentry? Are you building that? So basically, I would say listen to your what you're trying to build, and from there you can sharpen those tools in the tool belt, and maybe even add to your tool belt. So I think that is the way to get balance. Finding your the purpose, and that purpose will answer the question of balance in your skill sets.
Okay. That's actually a great answer. It gives me some perspective as well. So I'm really thankful and happy for that. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Like we have the same questions a bit repeated. Okay. Uh, Thank you, Janaki, for joining us and sharing your wonderful experiences and knowledge with us.
I'd like
So,
to say one last thing in closing.
please go ahead.
I think I am truly sorry that we are going through this pandemic at this time. But I do believe that the design mindset and this human centered approach that we are bringing is really important for our world. And our profession is very young at this moment. I want to leverage the passion and the skill sets in so many different in countries. I mean, this conference is in Africa. And the purpose is to nurture design community in Africa. Similarly, I have conversations with designers in India and other countries as well. And there are these emerging talent happening all over the globe. And uh, please stay strong. Please continue to learn. We need you to solve all the critical problems that we face.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for those kind words. And yes, we did take this as an opportunity to connect people and care more about the human part of design because after all, like, we can't meet people, so we'll have to feel and empathize with people.
Yes, absolutely. Thank
Yes.
you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for joining in. Uh, okay, everyone. So we'll have another talk starting soon. See you there. Bye
Bye.
bye.